Welcome to Math Plus, where math makes sense. Why do we use expressions in math? And what exactly is an expression anyway? In this video, you will understand what an expression is and how to identify it, and you're going to understand why we use them. First things first, what is an expression? A math expression is a number sentence without an equal sign, just like you see here. They're number sentences, but they have no equal sign. And that's probably how you've learned this. Just put an equation without an equal sign. But did you ever wonder why? Why do we need expressions? Where do we use them in real life? Why don't we just do an equation? Why are you taking away that equal sign? And that's what we're going to talk about today. It represents a value, but we might not know the final answer yet. So why do we use expressions? I'm going to give you 5 ways in real life that we use expressions, and you're going to find out that you've been using them all along and you just didn't realize it. One way is to represent real life situations before we know the answer. Did you ever go shopping? And maybe you picked up some shirts that were on sale. Here's 3 shirts, and your brain's going, oh, 3 shirts, $12 each. But you didn't solve the problem. You didn't do the math to figure out the cost. That's an expression. You're just very quickly saying, oh, 3 shirts, $12 a piece. I think I have enough. It's all like estimating, right? But you didn't solve the problem. You're just trying to figure out a situation. The second reason we use expressions, or the second way, is to plan and think before we calculate. Expressions will help us to organize our thinkings. So here you are again, you're shopping, you say, I have $50 and I spent 18. Now you may not have solved it, but you, in your brain, you're thinking, oh, I have 50 minus 18. That is the equation, or that is the expression that you'll come up with, but you haven't quite solved it yet. It just shows what's happening in your brain before you even grab a calculator, if you need one. Expressions help us handle unknowns. This is big in real life. Expressions let us work with things we don't know yet. For instance, let's say you got a job and you're getting paid $10 an hour. If you work H hours, the expression is 10H, would be 10 multiplied by the amount of hours. Many people, when they want to work for the week, they might think, I'm going to work 40 hours this week at $10. That's the expression. Once you solve that and you come up with an answer, then you've turned it into an equation. So expressions are thinking about things before you solve them. You don't know what H is yet, but that expression will work for any number of hours. So that's the expression that each week, if you have flexibility, you might want to figure out how many hours will I be working. That's the expression. Expressions help us to build formulas that we use all of the time. Many real-world formulas are simply expressions. Do you remember figuring out the perimeter of a rectangle? You were given the formula, 2 lengths plus 2 W's, 2 widths, right? 2L plus 2W. You see that as a formula, but actually that's an expression. You haven't solved anything. You're just thinking about it. What do I need to do to solve it? What about the total cost? Price times quantity, just like those shirts, right? I have the price, $12 a piece, times the quantity, 3 shirts. You are figuring out a formula. That's the expression. Once you solve it, it becomes an equation. Speed times time. When you're driving, how long will it take me to get somewhere? I know that if I go faster, if I drive faster, then it will take less time. We know that. That's an expression, but you don't actually have the answer. We use it in shopping, travel planning, even building and do-it-yourself projects. And the final way we use expressions is to compare and make decisions. Let's say you want to go to the gym, right? We can decide between 2 different options. Gym A is $20 plus $5 per visit, so our expression is 20 plus 5V. Gym B is just a flat fee of $50. The expression is just 50. Now you can compare which is better depending on visits. So you've written out your expressions. When you solve it into an equation and you can see the final results, then you can make a better decision. Remember, expressions are how we describe math before we solve it. Okay, think of formulas. They help us model real life, money, time, distance, without needing the answer right away. We're just thinking about it, but we don't have to have that answer right away. Expressions are like a recipe, right? They tell you what to do before the cake is baked. Now you know an expression isn't just an equation without the equal sign. There's a reason for it. Think about the reason, and it's going to help you remember the difference between an expression and an equation. All these are expressions. Yes, there's no equal sign. I'm thinking about it, but I'm not solving it. And the equation, I have it solved. 5 plus 3, the equal sign is there, and I've solved it. Now, an equation doesn't always have an answer, but it does have an equal sign. An expression never has an equal sign.